How's it going, everyone? Nizem45 here with some more Star Trek Online. So, continuing the little series that I promised I would be doing in my last video, we're playing the next Foundry mission that I made a long time ago, which was called Brother's Bidding. I'm just going to type my name in here. There we go. Fleet Admiral receiving a hail from Admiral Marek. Fleet Admiral, it's good to see you again. I would normally like to catch up on old times, but I'm afraid my call is due to more pressing matter at hand. Set a course for Otha III. I'll explain more on the situation when you arrive. Safe travels, Fleet Admiral. Alright, so we're already at the Otha III system. Jeez, I can never pronounce that right. Anyway, similar to my last video, I'm going to be leaving this mostly uncut. If not completely uncut. We'll see how it looks on the editing floor afterwards. But no, boy, last video was quite long. That's honestly, I think, the longest video I've ever put on my channel before. I mean, that's not entirely true. I've actually recorded for longer than that, I think. My longest recording session, I think, was when I was playing Midnight in the Iconian arc. But that was the longest session in one sitting, I think. And so that was Darkness Under Veil, and today we're playing Brother's Bidding. Anyway, so we're going to be talking to the USS Empirical. Ah, Fleet Admiral, you're here. Excellent. You're probably wondering why I asked you here. I am in need of your help. I was assigned to Starfleet to escort Ambassador Chagaran to a diplomatic conference between the Gorn hegemony. I've never understood what a hegemony is. I've never understood that. And the Tellarites. Needless to say, my efforts of keeping the peace between these two parties has been tiresome. I call you here because there was an incident with Ambassador Chagaran's ship. So, when I was making this, originally, I was trying to figure out, because I was still rather new to Star Trek Online at the time. I'd only been playing the game for 2 years at this point when I made this, I think. So, all in all, I was still rather new to Star Trek Online and to Star Trek in general, I guess. And so I didn't really know much about like diplomatic conferences or anything. But what I'd seen in Star Trek Enterprise and what I'd seen in game with the Gorn, I figured two parties that would absolutely never get along would be the Tellarites and the Gorn. And I thought that was kind of funny when I was originally writing this. But en route, Chagaran, by favor of his crew, requested a minor respite at Otha III trading station. He and his crew decided to celebrate some great warrior or something like that, and demanded the acquisition of 40 kilos of fresh gach. I tried reasoning with Chagaran, telling him that there was little time for deviation in our route. That should have been en route. But, oh well. But I'm sure you know how Gorn can get sometimes. Not to mention the man is 4 times my size and has teeth the length of my fingers. I concluded that saying no would be unwise. When we arrived, Chagaran and his crew took a short leave for a few hours at the trading station to get their gach. Apparently, though, while they were gone, a group of thieves boarded the Chagaran's ship and stole vital equipment from its systems, including their cloaking device and main plasma manifolds. You can tell that I'm new to Star Trek here at this, because I stole their cloaking device and main plasma manifolds. What are main plasma manifolds? Like, I'm not an engineer, and I don't know how Star Trek ships are made from the ground up, like a lot of people do, but I'm pretty sure, like, main plasma manifolds are, like, the main electrical systems, essentially, right? EPS conduits and all that? Anyway. Whoever stole them weren't very subtle either. The missing components seemed to have been beamed clean out of their sockets. Between the Tellarites whining in my ear about being late and a 700-pound Gorn breathing down my neck to get his ship back together, I'm in a rock and a hard place. I've requested reinforcements from Starfleet. They're keeping traffic control on the freighters and traders in this area from warping away. They've been ordered to disable any ship that tries to leave without my authorization. As peacekeeper, I'm being spread thin between parties right now, and I need you to find the missing component from Chagaran's ship. The incident only happened about an hour or so ago, and there has been no traffic in the area of traders coming or leaving since. So the pieces are still in the system. I need you to find them. You asked me so I could play middleman? I'm sorry, but in blunt terms, yes, I suppose I did. Thank you, I'm in your debt. Also, my science officer tells me I have the Tellarite ambassador screaming on another channel. I'll need to attend to this. If you could check with Chagarin, make sure he knows where someone's looking for his ship pieces. And the Darkloka. I don't know how I pronounce that. What is it, Ambassador Chagarin? Who are you and what do you want? Admiral Marek wanted me to inform you that we are searching for your ship's missing components. Ah, I see. About that time that slimy fishhead got his act together. So, you are here to assist us, then? Yes, what happened anyways? After my warriors honored Warrior Tomar, which was a joke, by the way, I'll get to that in a moment, with a hearty feast of gak, we were about to pull out of dry dock and continue on our way to a diplomatic conference. When we powered up engines, half our systems blew out, our warp core is offline, and systems is barely holding on. Alright, so, I have a Farasan character named Tragar. His last name, his house name, was Tormar. So I guess I was referencing myself, my own character, when I was writing this, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because literally no one would understand that unless I just told you like I just did. So congratulations, you're now part of the joke. Anyway, do you need any assistance? No assistance. All I want is my ship back the way it was and the head of whoever stole from me. We're working on that first part. Very well then. Well, he seemed pleasant. Fleet Admiral, there are a number of freighters in the area that are in suspect. I recommend we start searching them for stolen counterparts. Counterparts? That should be components of... Yeah. This is what I get for going back after, like 4 years after making this and reading all this again. It's hilarious how many spelling errors and just odd things I had back then. And anyway, is there any way to tell which one of them stole it instead of searching every single one of them? The cloaking device alone should be generating a noticeably large amount of power, much more than any standard freighter can output. We shouldn't have too much trouble finding the thief. So, there are a number of freighters in here, and we need to scan all of them. So we have the SS Timis, Noatek, Lesput, Purloin, Jolarinus, Draj, and Nova Burst. I don't remember why I came up with Nova Burst. I feel like that one meant something, but I don't remember what it is anymore. Anyway, we're going to start with the first one, and each one of them has their own little contact dialogues. I'm reading normal power signatures from this freighter, Admiral. Nothing unusual here. We should move on to the next ship. Anyway, while we scan the SS Noatek, which I'm sure some people that are watching my video will get the reference to, there only appear to be 3 life signs aboard the freighter. Unusual power readings. Anyway, Admiral Marek. So, I have a very sad and pathetic story behind him. Admiral Marek was literally no one. I made him up completely, nothing special about him. The only thing that I have that's interesting, it's not even interesting to say, is I made him a Saurian, which at the time I was like, I want to make this Admiral a species that we don't see very often in Star Trek Online. And obviously Saurians are a playable race and all, but truth be told, besides the Federation president or whatever it was back in that one Nakul episode, when's the last time you actually saw a Saurian as part of the story in Star Trek Online? Ask yourself that. Like, you can't really think of a whole lot. There are some minor characters, but never really any main characters or anything, which I've always thought was kind of interesting. But anyway, can I help you? We need to scan your vessel. Do you have a permit for this? Science? Do we? Yes, Fleet Admiral, we do. Yes, we do have a permit. Very well then, conduct your scans. Leave me be, though. I have cargo that must be delivered to a nearby colony within the week. I'm reading nothing more than food and medical supplies in the cargo, Fleet Admiral, but no unusual power signatures. I also tried to up the comedy level in this one a little bit compared to the last one. I don't know if it's stupid that I'm laughing at some of my own jokes. I feel stupid by doing so. Anyway, why are you scanning my ship? We have orders to scan freighters in this area for stolen technology. Ferengi scoffs at your remark. Well, you won't find anything wrong here, Fleet Admiral. I'm an honest businessman, nothing more. Now kindly cease your scans of my vessel. There doesn't appear to be any sort of overly unusual energy readings coming from the freighter, Fleet Admiral. We should continue looking elsewhere. See, you should listen to your science officer. Now leave me alone. The freighter has highly outdated components, Fleet Admiral. There's no way this ship could have stolen the equipment. We should keep looking. Which ones have we... Where is Nova Burst? Wait, we have... What? Oh, that's interesting. I didn't notice that before. The objectives say scan Nova Burst, but it's actually the Rathek that we were supposed to scan instead. There doesn't seem to be anything unusual. We should continue on. And then lastly, we have the Purloin, which I was saving that one for last in particular. So, Fleet Admiral, I'm reading massive power signature coming from this freighter. I can't tell what's causing the readings, though. There's some sort of dampening fields deflecting our scans. So, the story behind this is a friend of mine by the name of Remik. I put him into the game as a small minor character. In fact, no, actually, now that I think about it, who did I play this with the first time I recorded my channel? I recorded this for my channel. I recorded Darkness Under Veil with Mr. Fight Monster 118, and then I recorded Unearthed in Shadows, my last Foundry mission that will play after this one. That was done with Jagera. This one, however, I can't remember who it was. It very may well have been Remik. I honestly couldn't believe that I did, but Remik is a friend of mine, and as you'll see later on in the you'll see later on in this episode as well, in the mission, a lot of my fleetmates I put into this mission. Remik being the most notable one here. There's some other instances later on, and I'll explain those when we get to them. But anyway, yes. Boy, I feel I don't know if I can do his voice. I don't know if I can do his voice. Oh, screw it! I'm gonna make a fool of myself doing it. Oh boy. Yes. How can Remik be of help? Catnip 5. 4. Oh, no, don't do that. No, I'm sorry. Okay, we have orders to scan... we have orders to scan each trade ship in the system. Your ship is producing unusually a large amount of energy for a toughly class freighter. Can you explain why? Oh boy. Remik regrets to inform Captain F4 that Remik is not to leave to disclose all details. However, if Catnip 4 needs confirmation, please contact Admiral Cerrone. Oh boy, that takes me back. Anyway, whom will Remik reports to? Why am I going Scottish when I do this? Tell Admiral Cerrone wish to speak on matter of Lord Master's business. So, the whole thing with Remik is that he has his whole backstory, his whole character that he wrote himself. Since he's another human being, obviously, so he made his own person character and stuff. And so I tried to work that into his character and how his mannerisms for when I was writing for this character at the time. But anyway, I've contacted Admiral Cerrone, which, by the way, is the leader of the fleet that this character was from. I got a text-only message back confirming the claims. Looks like the story checks out. Remik will consent. Wow, I thought that said content. Anyway, I'm sorry. Remik will consent to remain in Otha III system for no more than 3 standard days. After this time, Remik must continue on journey to deliver reactors. Remik is sure Fleet Admiral understands. Yes. I wonder what that was all about. Oh boy. Oh jeez. I am gonna hear it from him later for this. Anyway, we should continue looking elsewhere for any unusual power readings. Alright, so, okay. Fleet Admiral, none of these ships seem to have signatures we're looking for. There's only one freighter left. Who? Maybe it has to be the one. So, yeah, that I wanted it to be like, it would always be the last freighter. The Gorka over here would always be the last freighter you would scan. Unfortunately, how the Foundry was set up, it has to have a linear progression, and there was no way for me to, like, say, once you scan all these guys, then you actually find out the one that you just scanned at the very end was the Gorka, but that's not how the Foundry worked, so. Fleet Admiral, ship's sensors are detecting unusually large energy fluctuations in this freighter's power grid. I'm afraid I can't get clear enough reading of what's causing the fluctuations, though it seems to be coming from a single source within the ship. Frosson looks a bit surprised momentarily when Hale connects, not expecting you. A Federation ship? In this part of space? Huh, now that's something you don't see every day. Is there something I can help you with, Captain... We're detecting large fluctuations in your power grid. Can you explain this? When I was originally writing this, I wanted to have the player say their name in the answer when he says Captain, and you give him an answer, because the way the Foundry worked is you could type in stuff in the text editor and say, I don't remember what it was. It was something like player title name on like big caps or something. And the game would then translate that and say, okay, whoever's playing this, oh. But where are the buttons? Oh, Charlie is playing this. Hello, Charlie. That was what it would do, essentially. Which is why you've been seeing that they've been calling me Fleet Admiral Charlie a few times. Unfortunately, you can't do that in the buttons. I tried, and it actually just said the actual text, the actual code, so it didn't work. But anyway, there's nothing wrong with our power grid. We aren't reading anything more than a 0.02 variance in our systems, well within safety guides. You might have gotten a false reading. We're testing some new warp coils, integrated them a few hours ago. Surely you know how upgrades can be on an old boat like this. Sorry, my throat's getting dry again. It's only been 18 minutes in. I had no idea. Anyway, Fleet Admiral, I've run some scans twice. Our sensors are correct. There is something draining massive amounts of power from that grid. I still can't tell exactly what, though. I doubt it. They would have to produce enough energy to make significantly different readings, only a few seconds at best. I'm detecting the fluctuations in their system. It's something else, and judging by the size of the fluctuations, it's something big. Are you sure it's a stolen technology? From ship sensors, no, there's no way to be sure. I'd recommend an away team where we were ordered by Ambassador Chigaron to find Ambassador Chigaron's components, after all. If the sensors can't find them, a closer look might help. Is there some sort of problem? No, but I'm afraid we need to come aboard. Grom. The name's Grom. Why would you need to do that? Because of the power spike from the coils a while back? I already told you we have a power grid well within the norm. And your invasive scans of my defenseless ship weren't enough? Typical Starfleet. Leave it to your feds to drill a square peg into a round hole. Fine. If it'll get you out of my fur, do whatever you wish. Just make it quick. I have places to be. Your away team is Ray. Alright. So that was how that was the very long introduction to Brothers Bidding. I did not know that this was that long. Granted, though, this Foundry mission is significantly shorter than Darkness Under Veil. So don't worry, we're not going to be sitting around for 2 hours while we do that. To anyone that actually watched that video, and to anyone that actually watched that video all the way through as well, like, you're awesome. Because I know that wasn't my normal, like, happy, peppy, wacky, zany kind of episodes. Why did I even just say that? Anyway, so, this is the SS Gorka. Looks bigger on the inside. Haha, Doctor Who reference. Anyway, Fleet Admiral, I can't help but notice it appears that the whole crew on this deck is Frosson. I wonder if the whole crew is Frosson species. Probably all same species crew aren't uncommon, really, not when it comes to privately owned vessels. You don't see Frostons in trading business often, though. Most join the KDF ranks. We should probably speak to Mr. Grom and see what he has to say just before we start poking around his ship. So a lot of people that played my episode always asked me what bridge this was, because they had quote-unquote never seen it before. I don't know why I just said quote-unquote. But anyway, to answer that question, this is actually the Cardassian bridge that you get with Cardassian ships. Granted, it has a whole bunch of stuff like the struts and the wires in the ceiling. Those are Borg wires, actually. Yeah, like you can tell it's Cardassian by design by the view screen. That's the same kind of view screen you'll see on Deep Space Nine and stuff. Also, these two Frostons. This guy and this girl over here, getting them to just walk around and to do stuff, you have no idea how hard that was, because I didn't understand a lot of how that worked at the time. And, oh, geez, it looks like it's lost all of its textures and stuff. Well, that's unfortunate. Anyway. I'm going to speak to Grom over here on his little elevated platform. The stout Froston gets up from his captain's chair at the sight of you approaching. Charlie, was it? Now that you're here, you mind telling me what exactly you felt it necessary to board my ship? Standing off to the side shyly, a very tall and slim Froston yeah. Brother, what's going on? None of your business, Wally. I'm handling this. Grom turns back to you. Don't mind the talking coat hanger over there. That's my younger brother, Wally. He's also my partner in the trading business we run on this ship. Go back and sit in your corner, Wally. Oh, okay. Anyway, Fleet Admiral, I'm head of this ship and its crew. You have anything to say, you say it to me. So let me get this straight now. Your Federation decides to blockade my ship with no reason, halt all my business so you can board my vessel and search without telling me why. Does that about cover it? Yeah, pretty much. I'm glad my race is no part of your Federation. Take whatever scans you want. If it means you getting out of here faster, by all means, go right ahead. Just get it done quickly. Fleet Admiral, let's start by searching the cargo around here first. I doubt that any of the Frostons have dismantled the stolen equipment, as they haven't had much time. But you may know how efficient Frostons can be at times. We need to be sure. And so this is just your average Star Trek Online, go around clicking things. But anyway, so that's the big joke that I think, looking back at the comments and reviews that I got for this episode, I'd say roughly 1 in every 3 people got the joke of these two. Grom and Wally. Wally and Grom. And you know what? I'm going to leave it a mystery. I'm sure someone has probably mentioned it in the comments already. So if you want to know, just... yeah, you'll figure it out. Also, he told Wally to go back to sit in his chair. Here's his chair. I never saw any comments or any reviews that made mention of that. But we have this big, luxurious chair that Grom sits in as the head of the ship, and then we have this tiny little stool in the back for Wally. But anyway. And now we just go and scan the cargo. And this is just your average, like I said before, just your average Star Trek Online. Go click and scan these 4 things, because that's how video game mechanics work. And you can see that one Froston over there, and he just has that ... above his head. So... while I was making this, I wanted to make sure that it looked like the Frostons were indeed, guilty of all this, so none of the crew were talking or anything. In my previous Foundry mission, I would always have NPCs just say random lines above their head in the text bubbles. But for these guys, I made sure they didn't. Because silence is guiltiness, obviously. I was still new at writing back then, okay? Anyway, Fleet Admiral, there doesn't appear to be anything related to the missing components on Jagarin's ship here. Then again, this is only the bridge, and not much seems to be stored here other than surplus stocks. I recommend we search the cargo hold. This is the largest area of the ship capable of holding components. We should speak to Grom about giving us access. And I did this because... actually, no, I didn't do this. I don't remember. But anyway... Froston glares at you a moment before speaking. I'd ask if you were done invading my business, but you're Starfleet. Something tells me you're far from done here, ain't you? We need access to your main cargo hold. Fine, whatever makes you leave sooner. Hey, Toothpick, get your lazy tail over and show our guests the cargo hold. What? Oh, right. Yes, brother. My little brother will show you. I'll join you shortly. I have some business to take care of first. Follow me, please. It's the turbo lift right over there. So, at this point, I wanted... Both of those are turbo lifts, by the way, one on each side of the room. I wanted, kind of like you can on DS9, to be able to use either of them, but once again, you have to have only one enter and exit point for each mission in the Foundry, so you can only use one of the turbo lifts. Anyway, this turbo lift, yes. Get me some water. You can start to see why I called this mission Brother's Bidding. As we'll see in just a few moments, I wanted to have an interesting dynamic between the two brothers, and kind of have an interesting contrast between them. Ironically, these two characters were some of the more noticed characters that I've written in my Foundry missions. I wonder why Grom didn't decide to come join us. Foreshadowing! Anyway, either way, we should speak to Wally before we start searching the cargo hold. And what I mean by dynamics is... I liked the idea of the two brothers, one being really tall and thin, and the other one being short and fat. The two very different contrasting visual characters, character telling, but then also the writing for both of them. Wally being the very bashful and shy and somewhat cowardly character, while Grom obviously suffering from a severe case of Napoleon syndrome. Anyway, here's the main cargo hold. Thank you. Okay, but please try and make it quick. Brother will get mad at me if you stay here for very long. Why would he be mad at you? He doesn't look like he's in the mood to talk at the moment. Perhaps we can try again later. For now, we should begin searching and see if we can find any missing equipment. One of the things I think was interesting with how people... What am I supposed to do? Alright. Inspect unknown stuff. I always thought these things were cool. Oh, by the way, these things! The big little round canister things. They're completely gone because the Foundry is going to be dead very soon. But something that was always really cool is whenever you placed one of these, they would be random. And so, like, you see how, like, this one is, like, raised up and stuff, but then there's one right in front of me now that's, like, completely compact, and then there's this one off to the side that's, like, mostly, like, halfway raised. Whenever you placed one of these things in the Foundry, it would be random which one of these three it was. I always thought that was so cool. And these were medical kits back in the day. But anyway, one of the things I thought was rather interesting with a lot of the reviews that I got for this mission was I didn't really realize just how sorrowful I wrote Wally. And this was obviously, like I said, early in the days when I was still learning to write stories back then. So a lot of people had a lot of sympathy for Wally and a lot of hatred for Grom, which was obviously my point, but I didn't expect it to be at the levels that they turned out to be. But anyway, these appear to be medical supplies, as well as stock supplies for I've never been able to... Batteret sedatives, and different bacteria-fighting antigens. Not exactly common in medical cargo, but it's legal. We should continue searching. And then it was the unknown canisters over here. I almost called them cantanisters. I don't know why, but anyway. They appear to be fuel containers, Metron gas to be more precise. They look properly insulated and contained. I tried referencing the items that we scan to be items that you could get in-game. So the first thing were the medical supplies, and they were Batteret incenses, which you can get from duty officer chains and duty officer assignments. Essentially, they're like hypos. I don't think I have any on me. Do I have any on me? No. And then this was the Metron gas, which I actually do have this on my ship, which is the Metron gas canisters. Just another reference to the stuff that you can get in the game. And I think over here, we get a blunted batleth. This appears to be these bat lists shouldn't be on board. Those aren't real. They are blunted ceremonial bat lists. Please do not touch them. Okay, sorry, ma'am. I think she's right, Fleet Admiral. These bat lists seem to have an extremely dulled edge. They couldn't pose any kind of threat. We should continue searching. Yeah, so one of the things that I think you get, at least, near the beginning of the Klingon tutorial is a blunted bat list. And I think it's just for, like, the first sparring fight or whatever. I don't honestly know if that fight is still in the game, actually. That might be... That might... Boy, that's so old, I don't even remember now. But, anyway. And once again, this is another reference. There's a lot of things here. Three crates of shield generators, 6 containers of Nepeta leaves, industrial energy cells, communications array, all of which, except for the Nepeta leaves, you can replicate through your in-game inventory. And the Nepeta leaves are obviously Gamma Quadrant commodities. And this is all cargo you'd expect to see on a trade ship, nothing out of the ordinary. Have you noticed Wally over there? He's acting a bit strange. The Telfarasan has been keeping his eyes on you ever since you spoke to him. Appears to be shaking some nervously. There's still more to scan on the other side of the room, but I think we should speak to Wally again. Maybe now he'll be a little more willing to talk. And so now we can talk with Wally and get a little bit more information. Is there something wrong? Why are you so nervous? Oh, sorry. That was him. Why are you said there's something wrong with it. What? Oh, I'm sorry. It's just, I'm not good at this sort of thing. Not good at what sort of thing? With lying? No, I'm not. And I did a lot of this as well, but I added choices that you could, for the player, to be kind of mean or very understanding, and that plays a large part into the ending of the mission as well. But we're gonna be nice to Wally, so it's all right. You can tell us. I'm not supposed to say anything. Brother will hurt me again if I say anything. And that was honestly, I always felt a little bad about writing that part, because I was implying that Grom was physically abusing Wally, and I never really liked that I implied that while I was writing this. But apparently that really helped sell the character by the reviews. So, brother did something bad. He made me do it too, but I didn't know it was bad. Brother said it wasn't bad, and then you're here to take us away. What do you mean? So a clever little thing. I don't want to say clever, because I actually found it on a YouTube tutorial. Was while we're talking to Wally here. Whoop! Grom just beamed in right over there. And because you can't have characters kind of walk into places and stuff, that he had to beam in, but you do it while you're distracted with the contact dialogue. So anyway, my apologies about the wait. Had to take care of a few things. Are you quite done searching my ship yet? Please don't tell brother. Brother will get mad if he knows I spoke with you. Well, are you feds done yet? You're overstaying your welcome. Just make it just make it fast and get off my ship. So yeah. So Grom's over here. Hello. This was interesting. The Warrigals, that's what they're called. They're not Jackal Mastiffs, they're Warrigals. I always get the two confused. But if you look on the mini-map, if I can zoom up, they are actually, well, you can't select them, because I put invisible walls around. But those are actually AI enemies that you could fight. I don't think... This is probably something I'm going to regret. Can I? Okay, no, there are roofs. Okay, no. But I had to put invisible walls all around these things so that they wouldn't attack you. Because actually, if they, even through the cages, they will try to attack you, and your bridge officers will try to fight them. So there's invisible walls around each of these cages and over the tops, so that they can't see you, and you... Well, you can see them, but your bridge officers can't see them either. Also, these little things that you're noticing on the floor right here, these are actually sleeping bags, apparently. These were each individual props. I had to place those individually, and if any of you remember or have ever used the Foundry, which I know one of my friends has, and he will attest to this, I'm sure in the comments below, that was a real pain getting those exactly precisionally placed. That was not fun. But then again, we have more stuff to scan over here. So we have computer logs that we're about to check, and I think we read up on the wargles right here. They seem to be. It seems that these wargles are wild. The logs on this console state that we're supposed to be delivered to Ryla 2 in 3 days. They seem to be meant for some sort of farm. Interesting. That seems to be everything in the cargo hold, Fleet Admiral. No evidence of stolen equipment from the Jagaran ship. I'm not sure where else they could be hiding it if they did have it. Perhaps we should check the hallway outside. There seems to be some more storage there. So, this was a pain to make at this part. So, we're going to pass Grom here and just continue walking out without acknowledging him. And as we try to, he starts to tell us to stop. This was a pain to set up. So what I had to end up doing is we're going to go up here to this area in just a moment. But there are triggers every, 10 feet or so to track where the player is going, so that more contact dialogues can play. That was very tough to set up, especially because once we get past a certain point up here, an invisible wall is going to be put up about midpoint, which is also something that broke randomly many times, and a lot of the parts where I got 1-star reviews for this mission was people complaining, hey, I can't finish the mission, there's an invisible wall. Yeah, you're right, there is an invisible wall. It just triggered way too early. It wasn't supposed to be able to be in contact with until you got past a certain point. But something in the Foundry years ago broke, which made that completely useless. So when you loaded into this map, there was already an invisible wall that you could not pass and could not complete the mission. I ended up having to actually rebuild this part of the mission entirely from scratch to fix it. I still, to this day, don't know what happened. And nothing ever got addressed or anything, but it's fixed, as we'll see in a moment, but it was weird for the longest time. But anyway, hey, wait a minute, where do you think you two are going? Where you two are going, anyway. There's no need. The cargo out there is no different than the cargo in here. You're wasting your time. So we're just going to continue on the way down here. I always liked that spotlight thing, by the way. I always thought that was cool. I don't know why. I just always liked that. You know, I'm starting to get real sick of you people. Since you didn't seem to get it the first time, you aren't welcome here. You've done your scans, you've invaded our privacy, you've done your job. Now get off my ship. Fleet Admiral Grom seems to be getting more agitated as we go down this hallway. Maybe what Wally was talking about is down here. We should go further. Foreshadowing! Beating the point in with a bat. Okay, well, what do we have here? I'm no engineer, but, well, you're right, you're a tactical officer. But I don't think this belongs on a Toughly freighter. Those consoles that are hooked up to, whatever this is, look Klingon in origin. We should see what they have to say. And so, yeah, I enjoyed making this thing, by the way. Like, this is just a bunch of different parts of Klingon tech. Since we didn't have something that looked like a cloaking device in the game as an object that we could place, I tried to come up with something that would look like it. I didn't really know what to make, though. And so, oh wow, I didn't know we could actually go all the way in here. So yeah, we have these cool turning things and little balls of electricity that make the camera shake just slightly. Is the camera shaking just slightly? I can't tell. Yeah, it is. And then the steam vents, oh my word, the steam vents were so hard to place. But I was always proud of how this turned out. I loved using the Borg wires for everything. Those things always looked cool. I love the snaky tentacle wires that you could place on stuff. Those were always cool. And then they had the wall struts here as well. So anyway, I'm glossing over all this too much. So we'll move on. Fleet Admiral, the logs in this console are engineering records from the IKS Darklo. This is Chagarin's cloaking device. Look, there are even transporter pattern enhancers over there in the corner. There are? Oh yeah, there are. I forgot I put those there. The Ferocness must have beamed over the entire cloaking device in one go. And by the looks of it, they also tried to use the stolen plasma manifolds to power it outside of the freighter's main grid. Whoever integrated the device in the freighter system didn't do a good job. This thing is bleeding energy from manifolds like water out of a tap. There's no way this could have been done. There's no way we couldn't have seen this from our ship scans. There are more logs, recent ones, by the Frostons. Apparently, there's a dampening field around the area of the ship. It looks Romulan in origin. It might have been stolen too. I was originally going to make a sequel to this entire mission, and it revolved around that. Around Grom and Wally having to face the people, the Romulan group that they stole the dampening field from. But anyway, that explains it. You know, you feds really should have left when you had the chance. No, brother, please, don't hurt them. Shut up, Wally. These feds should have left well enough alone the first time. I'm done dealing with them. The ship is leaving Otha III. I've called reinforcements. They'll be in the system any moment now. I guess poor Gagarin is going to have to walk to his peace conference instead. Why did you steal from the ambassador's ship? The freighter is carrying more than just basic cargo supplies you scanned. I have technology, weapons, schematics, all of which need to be smuggled across Federation border into Romulan space. We tracked Gagarin to Otha III. What better time to steal from an overgrown lizard than when his crew are stuffing their faces and getting drunk over some dumb war hero no one's heard of? We have evidence that you stole from the IKS Star-Lul. Now you're confessing to it, as well as other multiple thefts and smuggling. Why are you telling us all this? Why shouldn't I? It's not like you're going to live to tell anyone anyway. And so this was, once again, I couldn't just start the fight once the dialogue ended over, so we have just Grom here. Oh, I forgot. Dang it. Oh boy, I wasn't ready for this. Orbital beam, quickly. Okay, please tell me I can use this. Yes, thank you. Oh my word. Jeez, I forgot all about this fight. I was about to make some dumb comment about how Grom and Wally were just standing in the corner looking smug and stuff. Please place the mines down. Oh, dang it. Okay, good. The respawn point didn't break like last time. So yeah, that's one thing that a lot of people also said about my... Morley, get up. A lot of people said about my Foundry mission as well is I overdid the ground portion by a lot. So what you just watching... Oh my word. This guy, I swear. So what we're actually fighting against are a bunch of Klingons, but they have Froston skins. What we're doing is 2 tactical captains at once. Or maybe it was 3 even. I don't know how many we've killed so far. But it was an insane amount. And I regret the amount of damage that I you got to do. Like, this boss battle was near impossible. Oh, and by the way, wow, strobing effect. But the whole warp core just exploded, by the way, when the boss battle was done. So anyway, Fleet Admiral, one of the fusion valves on the cloaking device was hit by a shot during the crossfire. Scans showing the dampening field is down, and the device is leaching power from the freighter's system. Catnipped 4 to away team. Fleet Admiral, multiple hostile contacts just showed up on sensors. Ha! You're too late. Wally, get the warp drive online. We're getting out of here. What? No! What did you just say to me? Get us in warp now! Catnip 4 to emergency beam quickly. Right, so we're about to beam out into a... It's not a really hard fight, because we're going to have a lot of help, actually. And this is what I was talking about before, when I was telling you about how a lot of my fleetmates were in this mission, technically. They themselves weren't necessarily in the mission, but what we're about to see, you'll see what happens. It's a fun little thing that I like. This was one of my favorite missions. Obviously, my other missions centered more around my personal characters, but this one was just fun. So as soon as we're done with... Oh, wait, no. I'm reading multiple... boy, I need to slow down and take a drink of water. Okay. I'm reading multiple hostile contacts within the Otha III system. The Froston looks like Grom called in some favors to protect him. It also looks like the blockade ships have been disabled. We'll have to clear the system first before we can arrest Gorka crew for his theft of smuggling. Fleet Admiral receiving hail from one of the ships in the system. The Frostons? Oh, right, I remember this now. Okay, no, it seems it's coming from the SS Purloin. Should I put it through? Gotta do the voice again. Okay. Greetings, Fergen. Remek has detected multiple Froston ships in Otha III system. Does USS Catnip 4 have any need of assistance? You're the Tefli. You'd be putting yourself in a lot of danger. You know, I don't remember how this ended. Very strange. Anyway, Remek does not intend to Remek does not intend to offer assistance of Remek's self. Rather, Remek can call in support of Fleet Admiral wishes. Very well. I'm not going to turn down good support. Anyway, very good. Remek will assign reinforcements. The signal just drops. That was strange. I wonder what he meant. Fleet Admiral, I'm reading multiple Federation contacts showing up on sensors all around the Frostons. Are you ready to engage the Fleet Admiral? So this is, like I said before, had to put in a gate before the combat, just because how the Foundry works. In my last mission in Darkness Under Veil, the moment you beamed off the Romulan station, you were immediately in an absolute hellfire between multiple ships. So I wanted there to be a moment that you could, get your bearings and stuff. But anyway, we're about to get a bunch of ships right over here, and we're gonna just take them all out quickly. And so there are a number of ships fighting alongside us right now. Oh, I thought I pushed that. Oh, I did! I did change them to Slythus escorts. So a long time ago, before we had Froston ships, these guys used to be Klingon time ships. I forget what they're called. But anyway, the ships that we have supporting us here, right over there we have the USS Tigerclaw. Right over here we have the USS Dragonheart, the USS Evangelion, I don't know how to pronounce it. And is that it? One moment there, Morley. Was that all of them? I don't know if it's Evangelion or Evangelon. I've never understood that. I've never been able to pronounce it. If one of my... Oh, and the USS Kitten over there. So these 4 ships were the ships of the admirals in the fleet at the time. Things just exploded. Nice. They were both the ships and the classes of ships that the other admirals in the fleet that I was a part of with these other people at the time. Those were the ships that they flew. So it was a nice little thing that I could add their other ships as friendlies that would come and help you during the fight. And I forget if when you tell Remek over there if you don't need help if they don't show up. I forget that. I don't remember. But anyway, we'll talk to more now. The Otha III system is clear of all hostile contacts, Fleet Admiral. It looks like the remaining Froston ships have retreated. I guess Grom turned out to be not worth the rest of them after all. Fleet Admiral receiving a hail from the USS Empirical. It's Admiral Marek. Charlie, I'm glad to see you made it out all right. Judging from the fight, I presume you found the ambassador's missing equipment and arranged someone in the process, apparently? Angered someone in the process, apparently? It's the USS Gorka. They stole the cloaking device and plasma manifolds. I figured as much. When the Frostons warped in, they shot and disabled every single ship in the system, including myself, except the Gorka and the Purloin. During the lone fight, the Purloin was in communication with you, so I concluded that the only remaining suspect was the Gorka. Despite the disabled Gorka's engine, we've disabled the Gorka's engines and lowered their dampening field. I'll prepare an away team to arrest the crew. No need, the dampening field is down, and I've beamed the crew and it... Oh boy, I'm screwing up a lot here. I've been just talking too fast and my throat's getting dry. Anyway. Okay. With their dampening field down, I've beamed the crew aboard the Empirical. All of them are currently in the ship's brig, except for 2. They claim their names are Grom and Wally. They were the 2 over everything. Once again, I suspected as much. Ambassador Chigaron is here as well. Needless to say, he's upset, to put it lightly. I'm having trouble keeping things calm here. He wants the entire crew executed. I could use your help in settling the fate of his crew for this. We'll be right over. Thank you, Fleet Admiral Charlie. So, I have to actually go to the USS Empirical, which is right over here, by the way, holding the Gorka in place. I always find it funny that NPCs are level -65. But anyway. So the last portion here is we get to have a final confrontation. Not a fight. Just a final confrontation of Wally and Grom. And I was kind of like into Telltale games at the time when I was making this, so I wanted this to be a choose your own path sort of thing. But of course, the Foundry was a linear progression story, so we couldn't do that. So any story choosing had to be made at the very, very end, so they would all lead to the ending of the story. But anyway, there's the Admiral as well as Ambassador Jagaran. We should speak to them. Yes. Hello, you guys. As you approach, Marak and the Ambassador Jagaran are already arguing. Ambassador, please be reasonable here. Your ship needs to be repaired. You're going to miss the peace conference. These Pharisans are the least of your concern right now. Forget the peace conference. Those stubborn Tellarite pigs can come to whatever arrangement they want. I don't care about the conference anymore. I want these 2 purple flea bags and their crew to answer for what they've done to me and my ship. Ambassador, forgive me, please, but you need not concern yourself with this. I've contacted Starfleet already. The Frostons will be enough. You tireless, spineless little fish man. I loved writing that line. I don't need your Starfleet protocols and judgments to intervene here. This area of space is not controlled by Starfleet. You have no say in their fate. I too have contacted High Command. It has already been decided the entire crew of the freighter will be sent to Rura Penthe labor camp as punishment for their crimes. I'm finding it hard to believe Jagaran is actually an ambassador. Charlie, thank goodness you're here. Ambassador, I know who you are. You are the one responsible for uncovering these treacherous thieves to me. I am immensely grateful for your assistance in the matter, Fleet Admiral. Fleet Admiral, please, you have to help me. The Ambassador wants to have these Frostons shipped to some penal colony in Klingon space. But I already have authorization from Starfleet to take the Frostons and myself. Please, I need you to reason with the Ambassador. He won't listen to me. I'm right here, fish face. I can still hear you. There's no negotiation concerning these felines. Your fortunate High Command was so gracious in their punishment of life imprisonment. It would not have been so kind. If it were up to me, I'd have these 2 shaved, their tails cut off, and scrubbing the plasma conduits with their whiskers before feeding them to my targs. Ambassador, Otha III is not in Klingon space. Your faction can't claim the Frostons as prisoners of war. Not to mention it would ruin your title as ambassador. I don't care what you think or what the Federation has to say about it. Neither have jurisdiction here, which means your claims of right no more true than my own. That sentence is not good. What of a settlement then? Fleet Admiral Charlie here was the one who caught the Frostons in the act of thievery and smuggling, so they should have the right of judgment of their character. Since that is not sense, that is Sikne. Otha III is neither Federation nor Klingon space. I propose we allow Fleet Admiral to decide what to do with them. Very well, I shall agree to this arrangement. Fleet Admiral, you decide what to do with these filthy Frostons' face should be. Thank you, Ambassador. Charlie, I hope you're not imposing too much of a task. I never really agreed to this. Excellent, thank you, Fleet Admiral. I knew calling you on this matter was the right choice. But Fleet Admiral, recommend we speak with both Wally and Grom, hear what they both have to say before we make any final decisions on what to do with them. And so we get to... So we get to speak to Wally and Grom over here respectively, and then we decide what fate we get to choose. Did they go with Admiral Marek, or did they go with Ambassador Jagaran to Rura Penthe? Oh boy. A lot of text, a lot of reading. Okay. The stout Furison furiously struggles to get free from the two security guards standing in front of him to no avail. That was really hard, by the way, to set up, to get those guards to stand right next to him. And anyway, let go of me! You, this is all your fault! I want to ask you a few things. What do you want from me? And so, at this point, we're allowed to ask all these different questions to get to know both the characters a little bit better. And if we want to skip everything, we could just say, I have no more questions for you. But we're gonna go ahead and ask everything. So why did you steal from Ambassador Jagaron's ship? I have nothing new to say to you I haven't already said before. The stone components that were in that windbag Gorn's ship were going to be used to smuggle contraband across your Federation borders into Romulan space. Why else do you think I would steal a cloaking device for a Tuffley freighter class, you idiot? Which, by the way, when this was made... We'll get the galaxy map here. When this was made, Romulan space was up here, Federation was here, and Klingon was down here. The beta quadrant looked much different than it does nowadays. So that's something to keep in mind. But anyway, who was the contraband for? How should I know? I get a tip, I make a run, I get paid. End of story. Were you the main one who planned to steal from the Ambassador? Of course I was. I'm the only one smart enough out of my crew. Who else could it possibly be? Wally, my idiot brother? He's too stupid to tie his own boots. He hits his head every time he walks through a door frame. He can't even take 5 steps without tripping over his own tail. He's a moron. Brother, shut up, you idiot. It's your fault we even got caught, you worthless. Do you realize you were being charged with theft smuggling by both the KDF and the Federation? Not like crossing people off is new to me or anything. So, neither option scares me. If I'm put in one of your Federation prisons, I'll practically be pampered and kept safe from the KDF for a few years at most. And if I'm sent to Rura Prenthe, it's not like my contacts can't get me out anyway. That colony isn't exactly the tightest in security. Jagaron also has an option for you, you know. Fed, let me tell you, I've dealt with much scarier guys than that overgrown Sar over there. He doesn't scare me. Okay, Federation. Alright, okay. So, who did you call in reinforcements in the system before? Just some old acquaintances from the Farosan Defense Force. Does it even matter? It's not like you're going to get any names from me. No, we're not going to gain names from you because we killed them all in the firefight. Anyway, I have no more questions for you. I don't care what you decide to do with me or my crew, but at very least, I'll make it out of this without a scratch. Mark my words. And we talk to Wally. The tall Farosan is currently sitting on the ground, handcuffed behind his back, shaking nervously. Wally? Yes? I want to ask you a few things. Well, what is it? I'll tell you anything. Okay, so, why did you steal from the Ambassador Jagaron's ship? No, I didn't. I didn't mean to, I swear. I was doing what my brother told me. I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to do anything bad. I didn't mean to take from the Ambassador. I'm sorry. You didn't know you were stealing? I know that. I just always what brother tells me to. I didn't. I'm not sure Wally knew what he was doing, and if he did, it seems like he didn't think very far with it. Was all of this your plan? Plan? What? I didn't mean to. I didn't know that. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take from the Ambassador. I didn't mean to do something bad. Brother just told me to. He always. Yeah, shut up, you moron! Haven't you already gotten yourself in enough trouble already? Brother, I'm sorry. Anyway. Oh, right. Do you know what you're being charged? You get to ask the same questions, pretty much, that you ask Grom. I'm really scared. I'm sorry. Please, I didn't mean to. Please don't hurt me like brother does. I didn't want it to go anywhere. I'm sorry. And Wally's pretty much just the same thing over and over. I'm sorry kind of thing. You know what? I forgot what I even asked. Who did you call reinforcements? You mean what brother did? I've only met them. I've only met a few of the men on those ships. I don't know who they were. And so, yeah, no more questions. You're going to take me away, aren't you? So, Captain Fort Charlie, we're receiving hail from one of the freighters. Oh, yes, here we are. It is the SS Purloin again. Should I put it through? Go ahead. Okay. Remek couldn't help but overhear through Fleet Admiral's comm badge. Situation concerning Farasans. My comm badge... How did you... Remek has many secrets. Remek may have way to help Fleet Admiral if Fleet Admiral chooses so. How would you help? Frossen goes by designation Wally. Remek could take Wally and shelter... Oh, shelter him. Jeez, I screwed up there. Okay. Remek sees no wrong in that one. It seems like this Remek person is offering to take Wally aboard his own freighter as a third option, instead of handing him over to the Federation or the Klingon High Command. We don't know much about him, but aside from talking in third person, he seems relatively trustworthy. Remek can still hear you. What about Grom? Are you offering him too, or the entire crew? No, Remek is only offering place for Frossen by name of Wally. Remek does not trust other Frossens. Does Fleet Admiral wish to make deal with Remek? I'll get back to you on that. Well, albeit odd, that's a third option for us, I suppose. Fleet Admiral, we should take a decision now. Speak with Admiral Marek and the Ambassador. Yes, and so here's where the mission ends. So we get to speak to both of them once again. And like it says here, the next dialogue choices you make will affect the overall feeling and partial ending of the story. And I don't know why I said partial ending. I think I was trying to cover my bases, I guess. Anyway. Fleet Admiral Charlie, once again, I thank you for being the mediator in this trying situation. Have you and your away team come to a decision? Yes, we have. If you click, I need a little bit more time to think. It just closes out the dialogue, and you go right back into it. So, yes, we have. Excellent. First, what do you feel should be done about the crew of the Gorka in general? I'm going to choose what I would consider the good ending, that is, or at least the just ending. So you get different options of the Federation prison or the Klingon penal colony for all three options, and obviously Remek as the third and final option for Wally at the very end. So the crew situation should be handled by the Federation, I think. Should have figured you as much from another Federation officer like you, giving those flea bags the easy way out for them. Now, I thought that was interesting. I forgot to mention that before. I didn't really think of it at the time. Chigarin here was perfectly fine with a Starfleet officer being the mediator when he was arguing with another Starfleet officer. Essentially, it makes no sense, but, just we're rolling with it, so... You made the right choice, Fleet Admiral. The Frossens on that freighter are criminals and should be dealt with justly. Now, what of the plump one over on the left there? If I'm correct from what I overheard, he's the mastermind behind the whole ordeal. What about him? Grom should be handled by the Klingons. Grom overhears you and ceases struggling, looking at you sternly. Perhaps that thick purple hide of yours will keep you warm from the snow on Rurapenthe, although I somewhat greatly doubt that. And what of the brother, as I understand it? He was the main accomplice to the theft, right? And so, I'm not going to click it, but if you choose Wally should be handled by the Klingons, Wally just breaks down entirely. Like, he just looks at you like... He looks at you essentially like you just killed him. Like, I remember writing that. So no, we're taking the third option for Wally. Oh, very well then. I'll have him sent to your ship. Well, that appears to have settled things then. Thank you, Fleet Admiral, for your assistance. I'll be filing a report later on about this incident, and we'll be sure to make great mention of your help. Of course. It looks like our work here is done. We should return to the ship and continue underway. We're receiving another hail from the SS Purloin. Oh, right. This is... Right, okay. Remek is pleased that Fleet Admiral decided to allow Remek to help Faraz and Wally. We'll send him over to the freighter. Keep him safe. He's innocent in all of this. Remek will do just so, until we meet again, Fleet Admiral. And so there we go. Thank you for playing Brother's Bidding. This is my second Foundry mission I've made. My first is Darkness Under Veil, and a lot more work in combat and story than that in this one. If you enjoyed this mission, please leave a comment and tell me what choices you decided to make in the end. Also, obviously, if the Foundry's gone by this point, you couldn't do that anymore, but feel free to leave in the comments below on this video what choices you would have made if you would have sent Grom and Wally and the rest of the crew of the Gorka, for that matter, to the Federation, the Klingons, or to Remek, the third option, like I did. I always kind of enjoyed watching in the reviews of this mission to see what people did. Most people did what I just did, but a few people specifically did all Federation and all Klingon, and it was really interesting to see, like the differences that people chose. So if you have the time, I'd really like to see. Anyway, so there we go. And that was Brothers Bidding, everyone. That was my second Foundry mission that I ever made, a long, long time ago, as you can tell by the horrible writing. Anyway, it's melancholy, you know, going back through these. I don't know which one of my bridge officers just used a treble, but it's interesting going back through these, you know, because obviously, like I said in my previous video, the Foundry's going away and it will likely never return. So it's nice being able to record these as archives and records one last time for everyone. So as always, thank you everyone so much for watching. Thank you for everyone who ever played any of my Foundry missions, who've commented or reviewed them, and for just watching this video, even if the Foundry's long gone by now. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.